What's going on, my dudes? Onestep here with the ultimate beginners tips and tricks on how to get better in Street Fighter 6. Going over the best strategies, the things that you need to be practicing, things to keep an eye out for, and just overall game plans.
Take it one step at a time.
First things first, my dudes, if you enjoy fighting game content, make sure to subscribe here for more, as we have new videos Monday and Friday. Keep in mind as we get started that no matter what control type you use, modern or classic, these tips and tricks, as long as you follow correctly and consistently, are going to help you become a better player. So the first thing that I can tell you is, of course, I have my own playlist on how to play every character, card up top, or watch it in the comments down below. But even if you watch my videos or not, there's going to be character guides in the game. So you want to know, okay, how do I play Jamie? Right here in this list, you can start from the very beginning, what the game plan for Jamie is, and then go over all the special moves, what they do, maybe some best strategies when using the special moves, including the super arts. They even give you some nice fundamental strategies and even some advanced strategies. It's just super nice because it just gives you some nice simple tricks, just like I'm doing right now for you, but per character. And if you want more in-depth guides, again, I have my own videos up top. Learning and picking a main character for you is your first step in this journey to be a better player, because if you just try every single character, you're not going to be really good with one character, right? It's kind of like trying to learn all the instruments. I want to learn trombone, the drums, the guitar. Well, if you spend more time on just one instrument, you're going to be better at that one instrument than trying to learn 4 or 5 at one time. Same with the characters. And then once you master a character, move on to another and so on. Now, when it comes to game plan and gameplay tips and tricks for any character or just how you play the game in Street Fighter 6, honestly, the best offense is sometimes the best defense. And Street Fighter 6 really gave you a lot of defensive options. You see those bars up top? That is our drive gauge. We can do a lot with our drive gauge. Yeah, you can enhance special moves. We have our uppercut there. We can enhance it if we want to for more damage and different properties. When it comes to defense, Street Fighter 6 has a universal parry called the drive parry that uses drive meter, but in this stance, we're gonna parry any move. And here's what I mean. If I see my opponent coming in for an attack, I'm just gonna parry it. There we go. You have another awesome mechanic called the drive impact. The great move that gives you armor and allows you to go through your opponent's hits and hit them. And if you're in the corner and you hit it, you get a nice wall slump for a free combo. So for an example, if you punish your opponent mid-screen, you also get that slump as well for the same free combo you want. It is pretty slow on startup, so if I see my opponent going for it, I can just do mine and beat theirs. So see how I beat Ryu? Now I get a free combo off. So it's something that you don't want to spam, but something you want to keep in mind for more of a defensive mechanic. Is my opponent really pressuring me in the corner? What can I do? Okay, I can get out of it with drive impact, or vice versa. They're trying to get out of the corner. I'm going to keep them in the corner with drive impact, get a free combo off. But it's not something that you just want to throw out there for fun. Plan accordingly. Another defensive mechanic is called the drive reversal, and what this looks like, first let me show you. So what you saw there was the reversal part of the name, drive reversal. And what we're doing is we're just turning the tables and taking our turn back. And how you do so, you got to be in block stance. So we have to be blocking our opponent's attacks or their combo. And then you press forward, drive impact. And then you get the reversal animation. And then you turn the tables onto your opponent, put the pressure back onto them. An offensive mechanic using the drive meter that you can do is while you're in parry, you can press forward, and you dash towards them. And that rush can be used in combos if you really want to. It's not necessarily defensive, it's more offensive, but it's something you can do as well. Another great thing in Street Fighter 6 is we have supers. We have 3 supers actually. So you see there in the bottom right for Ryu, we're on level 3. So we got 3, 2, and 1. All of our supers access to. We have our first one here, which is just like a nice sandblast super. Our number 2 super for just some great hits. Now, the tip I have for you is don't just throw them out. They're not meant to be thrown out like willy-nilly. Like, for an example, Luke's Super R2 you just saw there doesn't have great range. So if we just throw it out there like this, we're gonna miss it. See how close we are, but we still missed it. And then you just kind of wasted your super bars, so you gotta build them back up to hopefully get it later. I'd recommend doing them in a combo of sorts, so that way you really guarantee you get the hit off like this. Some supers aren't necessarily meant for damage either. Some get you out of a situation. Like for an example, Manon's Super Art 1 is a low hitting super, really quick, and just switches sides with you and your opponents. If I'm in the corner, for an example, I'm playing Manon, my Super Art 1 sure does damage, but it's mainly used for reasons that aren't just damage. So I'll use it here, go under them, switch sides. Now they're in the corner for my pressure to go back onto them. And other supers like Jury's Super Art 2 on the surface don't really do anything. Like no damage is being done right now. So you're like, wait, why am I using this super? I'm getting no damage off. Well, as you see here, once powered up, you will be able to cancel normal moves into other normal moves or even unique attacks. So Jury's Super Art 2 allows you to make your own combos just free willy-nilly, which is crazy. So for an example, our back heavy does not go into our forward heavy, right? But if we're powered up with our Super Art, it actually does. And you can turn that into any kind of combo you want. So even though Jury's Super Art 2 doesn't necessarily do damage, it allows you to take control and do as much damage as you want to. Or other characters like Jamie, his Super Art 2 just puts you into drunk level 4 state instantly, which if you play Jamie, you know gives you a big advantage. So the biggest tip there for the supers is understand what your supers do and probably when is best to utilize them in a fight, whether it be in a combo, more defensively. Don't just throw them out there. Keep in mind when playing Street Fighter 6, it's not always about giant combos, who does the most damage. It's honestly about reading your opponent and punishing them accordingly. And sometimes playing rock, paper, scissors. So if I see my opponent parrying, well, what beats that? A grab beats that. When doing stuff like this, keep in mind that any damage is good damage. That includes pokes, sweeps, simple 2-hit combos. Over time, that damage racks up. Again, sometimes the best offense is the best defense. You're kind of like shimmying around here. What do I do? How do I rush in there? How do I get in there? Do I want to throw a projectile to kind of put pressure on them? Do I rush in for an overhead? While my opponent is trying to be more defensive, do I rush in for a special attack? It's more or less about how do I fight my opponent than who can do the biggest combos. And I think a lot of new players get intimidated by that. They think, okay, I have to do like all these crazy combos to be really good at the game. It's like, yeah, sure, they help with damage, but honestly, at the end of the day, you can just easily get out poked by somebody, out grabbed by somebody, and simply just outplayed by somebody. I know Ryu's gonna want to do his Shuriken a lot, so when he does, I'm just gonna block it and punish it. Fighting games are more of a mind game than actually fighting. And notice what I just said there. I know that Ryu wants to do his Shuriken for anti-air and so on. That is a big thing because if you know your opponent almost better than they do, that's a big advantage. So a big tip that might take a while, honestly, is you really just want to learn every character as much as you can. Because if I know my opponent's moves and I know their game plan, like for Ken, for an example, he's a rush character. He wants to get in there. So what's Ryu gonna do? Probably Shuriken, probably Hadouken, get some fireballs out there to push me back a little bit. I'm not saying you should probably learn every character to at least a little bit, but I'm kind of saying you should learn every character at least a little bit. Which again, that one takes time, but it'll help you in the long run for sure. Just the basic. I'm not saying learn 18-hit combos with every single character. Street Fighter is more of a footsies game, as I was just saying. You got a lot of pokes, you got a lot of just simple combos like this. You got the parry, the drive impacts. What that means is you're more ground fighting compared to some other fighting game. You can go in the air and start combos off of that, sure. Almost every character in the game has a great anti-air. So if my opponent's jumping in, well, I also have a great anti-air to get them out of the air. I can try and fireball them, sure, but they jump over it. Well, what do? Anti-air. So what I'm getting at is don't just jump in willy-nilly. You got to plan. Do I want to rush in? Do I want to dash in and block, dash in and block? Do I want to dash in and drive impact just to cover myself? Or do you really want to jump in? People jump in far too often and they get really punished for it. If you want to get better at Street Fighter 6 with your character, check out this playlist right here. I have all the guides for all the characters to help you get better. I hope this video helped you as well. If it did, give it a thumbs up. In your fighting game journey, take it one step at a time, and I will see you in the next one.